Today we are going to see about support vector machine. Support vector machine is a machine learning method that helps the computer to separate the things into groups. Imagine you have a two types of object on a table like apple and oranges. The SVM is trying to draw the best possible lines between them. So the apples are the one side and the oranges are the other side. It chooses the line by making sure of the gap between the line and closest to objects on the both sides is as big as possible. The closest to objects are called the support vectors. If an object are mixed and complicated way, the SVM uses special technique called the kernel to blend the line in a curves helps to separate even messy or non-linear data. Because of this, SVM works well for text classification, pattern recognition, image task, and high dimensional data sets. So the images represent the support vector machine, how it is works, and the nearest data points are known as support vectors. The separated line of the data points is known as a hyperplane line. So then we are going to see two types of margin, hard margin and soft margin. So hard margin support vector machine is like it's like trying to draw a perfect straight line between the two group of points. It works only when the groups are completely separated, no mixing, no noise, and no mistakes. It does not allow even a single wrong point when the wrong side. The margins must be clean and perfect. The major advantage of the hard margin support vector machine is the data point is perfectly separated with zero errors and the model becomes very accurate. So the major disadvantage of the hard support vector machine is if even a few points are noisy, overlap, or in a wrong place, the hard margin completely fails and it cannot handle messy or an imperfect data. So next one is soft margin. The soft margin support vector machine it used to separate the data points with a few points and mixed or noisy. Instead of focusing on a perfect line, it allows some mistakes so the model can still find the good boundaries. The kernel club called C, the high C is equal to very strict, allow fewer mistakes. The low C is equal to more relaxed, allow more mistakes to keep the boundary smooth. The major advantage of the soft margin support vector machine it's grand for real world data because the real data is usually messy and not perfectly separated. The major disadvantage of the soft margin SVM, you must be choose the right value of the otherwise the model will be overfit or underfit. So then we are going to see a linear support vector machine and non-linear support vector machine. In linear support vector machine, the linear support vector machine is used when you separated your data using a straight line. It tries to draw a best straight line and the clearly divided the group into a widest gap. In symbol, it is faster, work very well for data and are always nicely separated. In non-linear support vector machine, it used when a straight line cannot separate the data because the data points are mixed in a curved or complex pattern. To solve this, support vector machine uses small tricks called a kernel trick. When a lift the data into a higher dimensional space, in the new space, the data become more easier and separated using the line. So this helps the learn curved or irregular boundaries for a complicated data set. So this image represent for linear support vector machine and non-linear support vector machine. In linear SVM, the data points are separated by the straight line. In non-linear support vector machine, the data points are separated by a circle or an hyperplane. Then we are going to see a support vector machine for classification. Support vector machine thinks of support vector machine as a tool is try to separate the two groups like an apple and oranges. It looks at the all point and tries to draw the best line. That puts the apple on the one side and oranges on the other side. The best line is the one of the leaves the biggest possible gap between itself and the nearest apples and the nearest oranges. The closest points are called support vectors and they decide where the line should be. So in short, this SVM is used to find the clean line, separate the two groups as clearly as possible. So support vector machine for regression. Support vector machine for regression is not separating groups instead of trying to predict numbers like a prices, temperature or scores. Imagine you have a line to follow the trends of the data, but instead of trying to pass exactly through the data points, SVM it's create a tub, a small band around the line. So if the points fail inside the tube, they are close enough. So the model cannot worry about them. Only the data outside the tube affect how the line is adjusted. So the thickness of the tube is controlled by epsilon. So the bigger tube equal to more tolerance and the smaller tube equal to less tolerance. In simple support vector machine for regression, it fit the line that keeps the most point inside the safe zone and adjusts itself for only the important points outside.